Okay, a couple logistical matters. So a lot of you here are in the perfectly okay or POK community, and we often do events. That community is kind of a closed community, so to speak, and the events are just for those people. But this event is open to anyone in POK or not in POK. So if you're in POK and you're not used to an event that has outsiders in it, not outsiders, but other people who aren't in POK, then just know that that's happening today. And if that's uncomfortable, for you, then you don't have to continue the meeting, but I hope you do. And if you don't want to be recorded, you can leave your camera off and not say anything. Anyhow, 1 second. Computer problem. Computer problem. Hold on. Any minute now.
David, a number of people are not muted.
Okay, yeah. Can everyone please mute your microphone? Thanks for saying that.
We should mute.
Yes, Lois, I'll mute you.
Oh, good. Thank you.
No, you unmuted yourself. Okay. Okay. All right. So anyhow, we are recording, and this recording will be made available to both people in the POK and other people who have attended this meetup. So just letting everybody know that up front.
David, I don't think your sound is quite right yet.
Okay. Aha. Thank you for that feedback. Okay, how's that then? That should be way better. Okay. All right. Keep the input coming. I want this to be clear and the full blast for you. Okay, so here we are. So let's begin. Let's start with a little meditation. Let's just center ourselves, close our eyes, and just be present with ourselves. And those of you who have the DAT can start that if you choose, or just be together and connect. Feeling your body, the base of your body on the chair, relaxing and settling, being fully present with yourself. feeling a sense of presence and connection with yourself, with the group, with the all. And taking a moment to gradually come back to outer awareness at your own rate. So one other logistical point is that this was said in the email to go from 8 to 9 a.m. and I will cover the main points hopefully by then, 90% of them or whatever. But those of you who have been with me before know that I'm rarely able to keep a meetup to an hour. So it may go over, and if you have to leave after an hour or at any time, that's fine. It's no problem. Welcome, Caroline, and welcome, Bill. Mr. Wallen, great to see you. And hi, Donna. Hi, Alicia. So I'm very thankful for everyone being here. This is great. This is awesome. So why are we here? What's the point of this meeting? Why am I here? I guess I'm here because I'm feeling thankful, number one. I'm feeling motivated to share. And I'm just very excited about the possibility that the topic today, forgiveness, represents. So I guess, you know, I'm associated with a community. Well, first off, today's not going to be that formal. I'm going to chat and you can ask questions, and you know, we're gonna do this. I want to just share with you. I'd like you to share with me and have a conversation about yourself and about forgiveness, and just see what's available there, what's possible, what can happen. I think I should just also throw in here that, you know, I said I wanted today to be like a party or a celebration of opening, of awakening, of forgiveness, but that to me connects with the larger topic of awakening. And my belief is that awakening and the process of that doesn't have to be a drudgerous, rough, difficult process. I think awakening can be a joyful, you know, opening. I think it can be fun and celebratory. And I will say, however, that I think if you're not willing to go through tough stuff, then that can be a problem on the path of awakening. I think the willingness to go through whatever is vital. But I don't think that the majority of it has to be some horrible grind. I mean, if you're going towards greater happiness and joy, then I think that can be part of the path. And today we're going to be, you know, focusing on that. And so, you know, when you look at the path of awakening, there's a whole lot of different possibilities that are going on. And the key, I think, is to be able to select, like, what is going to be working for you. And if you look at it, what's been coalescing for me lately is the 3 R's. I'll give you 3 R's of awakening. And this is not official. This is just something that has come into my mind lately, and I don't know if it's true or not. It's just a model. But the first R I'll mention is releasing. Releasing means that you're letting go. And I think that letting go is absolutely vital. on the path. I mean, letting go is what we also call in the POK group, perfectly okay. Deconditioning. In other words, letting go is whatever you're holding on to, whatever your issue is, whatever the problem is, the trauma, the karma, the pain, the suffering, the emotion, that you are choosing to now release that. So that's the R of releasing. And secondly, we have the R of recognizing, which is recognizing is seeing that essentially everything is fine the way it is right now. You recognize that. Or you can say you can recognize that the individual that you think you are is not a discrete entity, or you can recognize that you're one with everything. There's different forms of this recognition. We won't spend much time on that today. And the third R is realization. Realization is when the recognition has become stable. It's either an underlying quantity, or it feels like it's there all the time, or you can tap into it whenever. So I think those are the three R's. And today's topic with the releasing, the forgiveness, will be mostly about the first R, but then we're going to do another technique I mentioned in the email, a bonus technique. So we're going to do a bonus technique that I think can encompass the first two, or even all three. Definitely the first two. Okay, so let's get right into the actual meat of the topic of forgiveness. And I'll start by recommending to you this little booklet here. Okay, this is called Guide to Forgiveness Meditation by Bhante Vimalaramsi, a Buddhist teacher in Missouri. And this is how I found out about this particular method that I'm going to share with you today. And it's very skinny and very excellent, and just very inexpensive on Amazon. And I think it's great. And so the core of what I'm giving you from the forgiveness standpoint comes out of that little book. And so I'll just briefly say what happened with him. Is that if you're familiar at all with the Buddhist path, you know that there's the path of being, the meditation and the being aware and so on. And then there's also the path of the heart, and they work on both, where you have your loving kindness or your compassion meditations. And so the compassion meditation is a huge part of the Buddhist path. And we're not going to be Buddhist today, but we'll just talk briefly about his story. And so he has many students, and he noticed that a number of them, quite a few of them, in fact, were having difficulty with their compassion meditation. It wasn't really wasn't getting very far. They were stuck. They were not really opening and flowering into compassion is just flowing all the time, and they're just bathed in compassion, and which is the point of the meditation, is to make that a stable factor for you, is that compassion is just here and there and everywhere, and it's going on. And so he came up with this. He realized that if people had not forgiven, and particularly the way that we'll talk about today, that people had not forgiven, their compassion meditation wouldn't really unlock. So he gave this as a precursor, and he himself practiced it for hundreds and hundreds of hours. And so what he basically said was, unless you had done your forgiveness, the compassion wasn't going to work. And then he went further and said that this is the most powerful meditation that he knows of. At his meditation center in Missouri, which I haven't been to but would like to visit, when people come there for a 10-day retreat, between 25 and 50% of them, according to him, achieve a stream entry, which is the first awakening step of Buddhism, which is a pretty cool track record. Okay, so anyway, what is this process? Okay, let's go right into it. So what we're looking at today for forgiveness is what I would say is a vector, a path, a technique for emotional freedom. And the more that I am involved with awakening for myself and sharing some of what I know with others, I believe that the emotions are really the biggest obstacle in humanity, and also on the path of awakening. It's very interesting. You can look this up in the New York Times. The Dalai Lama has, all this time that he can spend on any kind of project that he wants, and there's lots of funding and everything. And he decided to hook up with this guy you've probably heard of named Paul Ekman, Ekman, one of the world experts in history on emotions and what emotions are. And he hired him and this other company to do this huge project on mapping out what emotions are. And so you can look up Paul Ekman and the emotional map of the Dalai Lama. They interviewed him about this project in the New York Times. And the quote in the New York Times is, he said, really, when it comes down to it in life, emotion is the real troublemaker. That's the enemy. That's what we have to look at. And so why I'm presenting this is because I think that forgiveness is a path, a huge, fabulous, wonderful, very powerful path for emotional freedom. And that's what I'm looking at, because that's what I'm here to help you with, help myself with, because the emotions are what grip us. The emotions are what have the power to bind us in problems. It's not that we don't also want to free ourselves from problem thoughts, but I want to present to you one very interesting principle right now, which is that no thought without the power of emotion has any power. It's neutral. All thoughts without emotions attached are neutral. Okay. And you can clear them if you want, but neutral means that they can't do anything. They just flow by. In other words, if I said to you red egg right now, that's probably a neutral thought. It has no lasting power. But if I said to you some particular insult that's a hot button for you, if I just said that phrase, you might remember that for years. David came on this great, forgiving thing, and then he insulted me, and you might remember that for life. If I just said one sentence that was on your hot button. Okay, so that is not, it's not because of the words I said, it's because of the emotion that you have that's connected to that. So people spend tremendous amounts of time clearing beliefs, but the reason the belief has the power is because of the emotion that's behind it. So I'm all about, getting rid of problem beliefs. I totally am. But I think that the emotion is the key to doing that. So very quickly, one of the things that you can just look at in your life is to discriminate between what thoughts are and emotions are. When someone says, I have troubling thoughts, these thoughts are bothering me, that means by definition, there's an emotion connected to those thoughts. The thought that doesn't have any emotion won't bother you. You see, they're connected together, but they're not the same thing. So when you have troubling thoughts, you are sitting there, you are having a thought that's bothering you. And yes, it is, but the bothering part means emotion. Jill.
It's keeping me from giving my full attention to what you're saying, David, is the idea that there are positive emotions. Can you discriminate? Because for me, it could be joy or gratitude. I might call those emotions too. Could I have a little clarity about, you could just say troubling emotions are the problem makers or whatever, but I'm confused at the moment.
Okay. So for today, we're just going to work with so-called disturbing emotions. All right. We'll just take it easy on you. We won't make you get rid of any positive emotions today. All right. So relax. So we'll just focus on the disturbing ones.
Well, and are there positive emotions, or are things that are positive?
Oh yeah, there are. Yeah, there are positive emotions. Yes.
So we're from the Dalai Lama's perspective, it's the afflictive emotions that are the troublemakers. I think they call them those in Buddhism. The problem emotions, the difficult ones, is all we're talking about.
Okay. All right. So you're not letting me off the hook. All right. So let's clarify this. All right. This next part is going to bring up all the issues, but let's just do it. Okay. Okay. So here it is. All right. So the history of humanity has been that the basic human project has been basically that I'm going to try to feel the positive emotions in life and not feel the negative ones. So let's say for the last 10,000 years, everyone's been trying to do that. But for 99% of the 110 billion people that have lived, has that actually worked? Has that really actually taken hold? Doesn't work, you see? So you can say that there's just a stable joy and peace of being when there's no emotions, but okay. I wasn't going to go there today. one,
David, that's fine. I'm sorry, just say
no, no,
this
no,
is
no.
about.
No,
is
no, I
about
just think this is
maybe
hilarious.
difficult
This is
emotions,
great.
that's fine.
Okay, all right. Let's, you know what? Let's take it easy. Here's the thing. If you look at the spiritual paths, they, like, for instance, we're on Buddhism, which is not really what today's about. Then they do want you to have the positive emotions and not to have the negative ones. They want you to transform the negative ones into positive ones. So that's one valid path. Okay. Another way of looking at it is that a lot of the positive emotions are also a disturbance. That's another way of looking at it. I'm not going to say that you have to take that viewpoint. Okay, I'm not going to say every positive emotion is a problem, but a lot of the positive emotions are also a disturbance.
Okay.
And to give you one small piece of evidence for that is because, or a couple, one is that we seek out positive emotions. So there's a craving to have them. Secondly, when the positive emotions leave, then we're disappointed. And thirdly, we cultivate positive emotions to not feel the negative ones. So that's 3 reasons why positive emotions can be an issue. Anyhow, we'll just work with the disturbing ones today. Okay, so if you could put your hand down, Jill, that would be awesome. Okay, good question. All right, so let's get into how the forgiveness technique works. Okay, so the first thing is that we want to be in an emotion first. Okay, you can apply this to an emotion, you can apply it to a person that's bothering you, or a memory or a situation. Okay, but we'll start with an emotion. So the first thing we want to do is to actually be in the emotion, and then we'll apply the technique. So the process of getting to the emotion is very simple. You just actually can bring up any emotion that bothers you. You can just think, okay, well, lately I've been sad, so let me feel some of that sadness. You can just let yourself feel an emotion that's present for you these days, or you can just call up any memory that you're not completely okay with. If you're 100% okay with your class, with your memories, then good for you. Okay, and maybe I should turn the workshop over to you at this point and learn from you, because I'm not 100% good with all my memories, but I want to, and hopefully I can get there. So I want to be, so that 100% of my past, I'm A-okay, sterling, perfect. I have no problem with any of it. That's where I want to go. So just think of a memory that still bothers you. Bothers you by definition means emotion. Just think of that memory. And then when you look at that memory or notice it, you'll notice that it has 2 parts. One is what we can call the content of the memory. The content is what happened. There maybe were sights or sounds or events. And then there's the emotion that you felt, and you're probably feeling some of that right now. Okay, so just focus on the emotion part of that memory. Okay, the content is there or not there, it doesn't matter. Just focus on the emotion part and notice where in your body that you're feeling something. Emotion means I'm feeling it. And that typically is in the center of the torso somewhere. Upper chest, heart, lower, below the heart, solar plexus, navel, abdomen, somewhere on those areas, you'll feel something. Usually it's the form of a tension or constriction or contraction. So that is the physiological signature, so to speak, or the essence on the physical part of the emotion. And so then you just rest your attention on the physical part. So that's the chain. We remember, we focus on the emotion part, we orient to the body, and then we just rest our attention just on the bodily part. It's very easy steps to get to that. And so one of the secrets of the whole emotional freedom path is that if you do that, those 4 steps, and you're just on the body part, and then you do something that releases the bodily tension, it blows the emotion. It takes it out. So that's a very good thing to know and realize. It's very, very powerful. Okay, so now that you've done that, just come back for a minute. You can go right back to that in a second. And I want to share with you now what I said in the email, the 10-second forgiveness formula. Okay, so here it is. What you're going to do is you're going to say the following 2 phrases that I give you in a moment. And before I say them, I just want to point out what is not going to need to be happening when you do the forgiveness technique. When you say this, you're just going to say these things with sincerity and then see what happens. But what you won't need to do, however, is to figure out why the emotion is there. Okay, you won't need to have any type of understanding about the memory or the situation. You won't need to gain any new wisdom. You can just let it go. Okay, there won't need to be any mental operations that happen. Of course, saying something is a bit mental, but this happens on the level of intention. That's why you're saying it, because of your intent. Your intent is to forgive this issue, whatever it is, but you're going to say the forgiveness right to the physical part. You don't have to forgive the event. Okay, just to the physical part. You can also forgive events. Okay, so here are the two phrases. I forgive myself for not understanding. That's part one. Okay, there's an optional second part, which is I forgive myself completely. So the memory may be of somebody else offending you. So the typical way we would do it is that person did bad to me, I need to forgive them. Okay, so that is the typical way you look at forgiveness. I forgive you. But in this path, 90% of it is I forgive myself. Okay, now in phrase one, I forgive myself, thank you, Marianne, for not understanding. Then you don't need to figure out how you're not understanding. You don't need to have the realization, oh, I misunderstood, because this is coming from the heart. It's not coming from your mind. You see what I'm saying? I forgive myself for not understanding, and you just let go when you say it. Because it is a deep misunderstanding that you don't need to understand how it's a misunderstanding. You just say that. I forgive myself for not understanding. And I forgive myself completely. So let's do it. Here we go. Whatever you just started focusing on, return your attention to that tension or constriction in the torso and just say, ideally out loud, I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. Say that. And now notice what happened with the spot in your body. And if anything's left, keep feeling the same area and say, ideally with eyes closed, just feel that area and say, I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. Actually, it only takes 4 seconds to say that, but I thought 4-second formula sounded weird, so I said 10 seconds. You just repeat it. I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. If you just take those two phrases and say them with sincerity, you're golden. You will change. You will get there. You'll get to freedom. Of course, it's not the only thing. Of course, things work differently for different people, and you have to find what works for you. However, this has been working like gangbusters for the people that I've shared it with. Okay, feel the same area again. Even if it feels like it's completely gone, you can still feel the same area and say right now, out loud, I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. And there's nothing you need to understand. You don't need to figure anything out. I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. Okay, so now we've done it several times, maybe on all on the same issue. Maybe you've cleared one and gone on to the next one and done it on that as well. So I'd like to hear from some people as to what has been happening with you and sharing. So Daryl, yes.
Well, I'm actually having a little trouble with it. And here's where the hangup is. I had something happen earlier this week that was intensely upsetting. I mean, I can't remember the last time I've been that disturbed by an event. And to the point that the feelings kind of hung around for days. Trying to recall it now, I can't seem to, I would think that those feelings would just come right back up as troubling as it was, but now it's like there's nothing there. And so do you have to really be able to recall those emotions, be able to get them up in a way that is substantial or has something close to the original intensity?
Well, let's answer the second question first. When you bring things up, they don't have to have original intensity, and I don't want you to try to get original intensity. A little bit is fine. Okay. If you can just feel a little bit of the issue or emotion, you're still tapped into the whole thing. So don't try to, recreate, oh my God, I felt like this. There's no level that you have to be feeling at. From 1% to 100 is fine. However, if you're not feeling it at all, like 0, then there's only probably 2 things that have happened. One is it's suppressed or repressed, or 2, it's already been cleared.
Okay.
I mean, are you sure that you still have an issue with that problem?
No, I can't say that I am sure. No.
Okay, so if you go back to a memory that bothered you, so if you think of that memory now, you seem completely neutral.
That's how it's feeling right now. Or if there's anything, it's so subtle it's hard to get a fix on.
Okay, so just feel right now, so subtle it's hard. Just feel so subtle it's hard to get a fix on, and say to yourself, I forgive myself for not understanding. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it does seem to shift things from subtle to clear.
good. Yay.
Okay.
There you go. Less complicated than you thought.
Thanks, David.
Yeah. Lisa or Jorge.
Lisa. So interestingly enough, the physical sensation was here in my chest, a little bit above the physical heart. It feels kind of like a little bit of a lump. And I did the phrases like I've been doing for a while now. And this time was interesting because I can still feel that lump, but what's come in underneath that, or kind of arisen, is kind of like a feeling of joy. So even though I don't feel like I cleared it, because I feel a little bit of heaviness and constriction still, there's still this joy that's arising. So, and I hadn't really had that experience before. So I just want to share that.
So I think that's part of the transformation. You probably have a little bit less of the lump, and now you have more joy. So something has changed. So as one value is going down, the other is going up. So if you keep doing it, that'll probably continue, like, less lump and more joy. Lovely. It's good. Yeah. Keep going. The forgiveness technique is not designed. I mean, I love techniques that are just supposed to be like, just wipe stuff out. I love that. This one is not for that. This is not supposed to be that it just the first time you say it, everything is instantly gone. It's however many times you need to say it. One of the very interesting things that you can do is you can apply this technique to walking. So one way to do it is as you take your left step, you say I, right foot for, left foot give, right foot my, left foot self. For each syllable, take a step, or with each word, take a step. And then you just, as you walk, you're actually putting that into your body and you're forgiving. There's many variations. We'll talk about them. Okay, good enough for now, Lisa?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So Daryl, did you have more? Okay. All right, so I'd like to hear Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, my question is do you have to know consciously what it is that you're, because sometimes I just have just this in my chest right here, and I have a hunch that, I mean, it seems like it might be a lot of different things. So should I just concentrate on each one, or should I just concentrate on the contraction? Or
this is the best question ever. You don't need to know what an emotion is to release it. You don't need to know where it came from. You don't need to know which emotion it is. You don't need to know its origin or its details or who involved, or Was it from karma, or did your mom put it in the womb, or was it something from last week, or is it a whole ball of a gestalt of a billion things that I haven't released? And you don't have to know any of that.
Okay.
If you
Right.
just can connect to the physiological part and let go, you are evolving right there.
Great. Thank you. Very good.
I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. Said with sincerity, it's just simply a vector of letting go.
Mhm. Great. Thank you.
And you said you have tension, so doesn't it make 100% sense that letting go is the direct and full medicine for tension?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is, right? And so I can pretty much tell you right now that if there's tension in the torso, there's a 99% chance that it's emotional.
Mhm.
I'm saying this to everyone and myself. That's how tension gets into the torso.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Okay, so Kathleen, yes.
Well, I'm just thinking how helpful what you just said is, because I've been thinking about some generational trauma kinds of stuff. And I haven't tried this on that, but I'm gonna, because I think maybe, like stuff that's been hanging around a long time, I think.
Yeah,
Anyway.
sure.
Okay, I'm gonna give that a try. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome. So guys, look, the modern era of therapy, started with Freud, and his main thing, we had a few, but one of his main things was that if you had an insight into your problem, then you'd be free of the problem. Okay. And that would happen by talking about it. All right. Okay. So guys, I'm talking about something different. This is not a mental thing. Emotions aren't mental. Emotions aren't in the realm of thought. The key to winning with emotions is to realize that they're different than thoughts. They come connected and they can stimulate each other, okay, but they're not the same. And trying to fix emotions with mental techniques is a tough road. It doesn't really work that well. Okay, so let me give you an example of a mental technique for emotions. Affirmations. Okay, so I'm feeling bad, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling depressed. That's emotions. I'm not feeling at my best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat things in my head, thoughts to feel better. I am happy. I am feeling great. Every day in every way, I'm feeling better and better. So you're applying something at a different level than where the problem is. Does it make sense? You see, you're applying thoughts to try to fix emotions. You tell me if that works. So what I believe is that emotions are energy. And if you can just clear them on the level of energy, then your progress can be incredible, rapid, powerful. Let's move right along. Okay, so what we just did by focusing on an emotion, feeling it in the body, and then applying this formula. I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely, said with sincerity, as many times as you want to. That is what I call the specific application. You're thinking of something specific and then you're applying it. Okay. So the path on this would be to make a list of everything that bothers you. You don't have, or mentally, or write it down and then just go. Just forgive until there's nothing left to forgive. You're always forgiving yourself. I mean, occasionally it may switch over to where you're forgiving the other person. But here's what you wouldn't do then. Okay. Let's say you remember something and in the situation you were angry, you feel the anger, and then let's say maybe the anger is, for example, right here, you're feeling it. What you don't do is change the word at the end. You don't say, I forgive myself for being angry, or I forgive myself for offending that person. You don't put any of that in. You always stay with, I forgive myself for not understanding. You always stay with that. because it is a deep misunderstanding, and you don't need to understand how it's a misunderstanding. You're reasonlessly letting go without understanding. I want you to let go without understanding or needing to understand. That's the thing. So that's the specific. Now, the general application of this is you don't have to bring up anything specific. You can just sit there and recite this. Well, I mean, how is this possibly going to work? How are you going to get any mileage or progress out of forgiving something when you haven't even brought up anything to forgive? Does it make any sense? Here's how it makes sense. There's always something up. There's always something floating around. Forgive it. You don't have to even know what it is. Isn't that brilliant? There's always something going on. There's always deeper layers. There's always how many emotions that we have happening that we're not aware of? We have many emotions going on at the same time. So you can just sit there, and you know what? If you start doing this, let's just say you're neutral. You're neutral. Everything's fine. You're not in a positive or a negative emotion. You're laying down to do a session of what this crazy guy in the hat says. Oh, general forgiveness. What the heck is that? Okay. So you're sitting there, or you're walking, or you're laying there. There is nothing up. You haven't called anything up. Everything is A-okay and neutral. And then you start in. I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. Believe me, before long, stuff will start to release. It'll just begin. You'll just start clearing. The general method is very, very powerful. Okay. All right. So this is the next thing I want to share, and then we'll get into the bonus method for today. All right. So I have found a lot of mileage out of this little $4 thing here, which is a click counter from Amazon. Okay. I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. Forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. Forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. Why is that? Because I can put a goal. I want to do 100 of these today, and then I can keep going until I've done that many. Okay, you don't have to do this. It's just a little toy that might be helpful for you, but you can check that out. And other people have benefited from that approach as well. It's just do a certain number of them, specific or general ones. And what really cool about this whole thing is that this is cumulative. The more you do this, the more, as soon as you get into a flow of it. So if you've been doing it day by day, after not very many days, as soon as you start to say, I forgive myself, then you are in the kind of the forgiveness vibe or juice or aura or stream or whatever, and things just start opening up. You start feeling great. Like, oh, wow. I mean, this is better. I mean, we can spend a minute or two on this, and you can tell me what is an issue. If you have an issue, what is it at its essence? Who has an opinion on that? If you have an issue or a problem, something that's bothering you, what is it? Becky.
Resistance to the way something is.
That's right, resistance. Okay. Yep. And what's required to have resistance?
The idea of how it should be.
Sure. Energetically, though, what's required? What are you doing in order to resist?
Contraction.
You're holding, right? You're holding it. You're trying to hold it the way that you want it to be. Now, we have already learned that we can't make the universe the way that we want it to be, but we still try. Okay. Right. We know that already, but the parts of our psyche forget occasionally, maybe as often as daily, sometimes. And so then we tried it. And so the essence of an issue is attachment, grasping, gripping, holding. That requires a lot of energy. Okay. So therefore, everything that you have not forgiven is you're holding on to. I mean, the most obvious version of that is a grudge. We all talk about holding grudges, but we don't realize we're holding everything. Right, Patricia? Let it all go. Let it all go. So the end game of this is there's nothing left to forgive. You're completely fine with the world and yourself, and you can get there with this. And then talk about the ease of feeling compassion for everyone and everything. I mean, he's absolutely right. It's kind of ludicrous to try to feel compassion for others when you haven't forgiven yourself. I mean, how many hours have you meditated? Probably everyone here has been thousands of hours. You've meditated a lot. Okay. Bully, good for you. Keep meditating. Okay. However, if we continue on logging the dozens and dozens and hundreds of hours of meditation, and we still haven't forgiven ourselves, isn't there something wrong with this picture? Doesn't that seem askew slightly? Okay. Is this clicking, guys? Bill Wallen, I love you, man.
I was just curious, how would you compare or relate this to the emotional releasing technique offered early on in POK?
Well, it's a bit slower speed-wise, but easier in a way because it's less technical. This is what's great about this is that it's all purpose, it's untechnical, anyone can do it, and it's something that we need to do. We do need to forgive, I feel. I mean, look, the ultimate understanding will be you will realize that there really is nothing to forgive because everything is perfect right now. Okay. But if I say that to you, that is the truth. If I say, hey, there's nothing to forgive, Becky, and you're still feeling some emotional tightness, it doesn't work. Your mind goes, yeah, true, but torso says not the case. All right. So Bill, I would say it's another tool in your toolbox. I like to have a pliers, a hammer, and a screwdriver. So use them. Use the different ones that work. Is that a satisfactory answer? Okay, Becky.
Yeah, so I've been having an interesting experience just these past few moments, which I think illustrate the general application technique, which is that when you showed that clicker, I immediately wanted one. I like that kind of thing. And then I thought, oh no, I better not get one because I have chronic hand pain. And that's going to be one more repetitive motion. And then I flashed on the memory of having one of those decades ago at a job I had when I was cold calling. And that job is just loaded with bad memory and trauma. And I thought that was so funny because we were talking about general and there was no emotion going on, and I haven't thought about a clicker in a million years.
So good for you. You thought of that. And so that job right there is lots of things you can release and be free of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does happen that gadgets or things or words or something, sparks things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Someone else would like to share their experience of what's happening with you. Okay. William, yes.
So I wouldn't say it's any different than what we'd practiced already, but I don't know, I was just kind of going to share my version of the technique that since he talked about smiling in the book, I would just say at once what you said, and then kind of use the inner smile that they talked about in the class. And like how you talked in the the last class that we had, kind of shining the smile on the emotion if it's a difficult emotion, or if it's a pretty easy emotion, it just seems to turn into a smile along with the inner smile. So that's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. You're right in cue because that's what I was just going to talk about. So lovely. Thank you, William. We're going to talk about smiling in a minute. So also in this book is Smiling for Awakening. So we're going to talk about that. Christina, please.
Something that kind of, I think, retards my progress with this is like some things like the holding on,
Mhm.
the defense, like
Okay.
I don't want it to happen again. And I'm afraid like if I let go, if I forgive and let go, then I'm making myself more vulnerable to it happening again, something, that was
Right.
hurtful. So can you speak to that?
Well, the fear, the defense itself is another emotion. So there's the emotion you want to let go of, and then there's the defense against letting go. That's an emotion. And there's the fear of what might happen. That's also an emotion. So these are all emotions working together. And what I can tell you is I can give you a bunch of different theories, but here's one thing you can do is you can try it on. You can let go of it. And then if you feel vulnerable, you can just build up a defense again. You can rehold that grudge. You can get offended again. See which one you like better. Okay, but this brings up an insight, which is that sometimes an emotion wants to stop us from releasing another emotion. So recognizing that is very valuable. So you see, so you said, I feel like that I will be more vulnerable. That feel like is a sense of possibly fear or whatever it is. That also is an emotion.
Well, it does make me more vulnerable. I mean,
To forgive the other person makes you more vulnerable.
well, to not have my defenses up, because to me, when you forgive, you let your defenses down.
I think it's possible to gather wisdom from what happened and to take a whatever step of maturity is needed to be aware that maybe that situation or person is something to treat differently or avoid in the next time, while still being open and flowing in life and not defended and guarded.
Okay, that feels good.
Maybe you could write down the learning I'm taking from this is, and then keep that, and then, okay, but I forgive the holding part.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Very helpful.
Okay, so let's go on then to the part involving smiling. Okay, so this is something now that I have actually created into its own technique. This occurred to me, and I think it was partly because of the Guide to Forgiveness meditation, but also other things that I've learned. And it just, I don't know, downloaded to me, and it's been hugely valuable for people. So I'll just teach this. We'll just leave aside the forgiveness for a moment, and then we'll just teach this and then maybe see how they connect together. Okay, here we go. All right, so in this particular technique, it's only bodily based. Okay, you don't even have to say anything. We're just doing stuff with our body. And the name of the technique is the AH-Smile technique. AH-smile. Okay. All right. So the idea is no thinking. At least when you're saying, I forgive myself, there is thought. You're saying words that's coming from your mind. This is no thinking. Okay. Just doing something physically to change it. So we're shifting gears, and it's wonderful, I feel. And let's see how you feel about it. So let's go through the same steps again to bring up the thing. So either just think of an emotion that you'd like to feel less often in your life, or think of some memory or situation that bothers you. And go ahead and look at that and see that part of it is content and part of it is emotion. That's a very helpful step of discrimination. put your attention on the emotion and feel where you're feeling that in your body. 99% of the time it will be in the torso, but it could be anywhere. Usually down the center of the torso, you're feeling some tightness or constriction. Just rest your attention right on that spot. Okay, so Ah Smile technique has two parts, all right? The first thing we're gonna do is while feeling that area, we're gonna chant, we're gonna intone, we're gonna make the sound ah. Okay, you're gonna open your mouth and out loud go ah, and then as the ah runs out, you're gonna transition into smiling. You're gonna physically smile. So here we go. Feel that area right now. Go along with me. Ah, and smile. Okay, and again, chanting ah. Feel like you're intoning the ah, directing it right to the place. The ah is going right into that place. Ah. And now smile, physical smile on your face. Feel that the energy of the smile is radiating to that place. From your lips, from your face, the smile is beaming to that spot. And doing it again. Ah. Feel that that area is also vibrating and ah is also happening there. So both places ah is happening. And switching to the smile. You're beaming the smile to that location, and that location is also smiling and smiling back to you. And again, ah, keep the ah going and feel it's now going to your whole body. The ah is just flowing out to everywhere. Ah, and smiling. And now as you smile, mentally keep the ah going. Feel both the ah and the smile at the same time in the place where the original thing was and all over the place. And once more. There may be nothing less. You can feel that area, or you can feel your whole body, and ah, and smiling. As you smile, mentally keep the ah going. Smiling and ah at the same time, mental ah with physical smile, right to that place, right to the whole body, everywhere. You can even do it to outside your body. You're feeling the ah and smile, the whole universe. And take a moment to come back. Okay, so what to me is brilliant about this technique is that it's a vector both for deconditioning and awakening, both at the same time. You do a few rounds of this, and you're in the connection. You are the whole thing. So I'd like to hear how that worked for you, or comments or questions. What happened when you did it? And
sorry, clicked the wrong button. That was really effective for me. I really liked the ah and the smile, and it was just really, really wonderful. I have dogs, as you know, and when they bark, they don't bark too much, but when they bark, it freaks me out because I'm worried about disturbing the neighbors. But I get this like feeling, and it's something I've been watching and looking at for a long time, and thinking that's a really great little issue for me to practice, because it's not a major thing, it's just a little thing, and it was really great. It's just like, oh, wow. And I'll be able to just repeat this every day for as long as I have the dogs. And it's wonderful. Actually, I really was able to bust up that feeling. So maybe I won't have to do it anymore. Anyway, thanks.
Okay, you're most welcome. I love it. Beautiful. Awesome. Stephen.
Yeah, it's just amazing how it works. And I just started laughing. It's so, in some quote unquote, ridiculous that it works so easily in a certain way. And I wanted to ask you, is it eyes closed or can be eyes open?
Yeah, it's up to you. Either
Okay.
one. Yeah. I mean, I normally do it with eyes closed, but this is like all purpose.
Right.
You can do it as you're going along, you know?
Right, that's what I was wondering, but you could do it just as you're going. And
Yeah.
is there another, like om, does that, or does it just stay with the ah?
Well, this is specifically the ah sound because the ah is the most primal sound that's possible. There's no vocal modification. There's no pronunciation. There's no tongue involved. You know, the ah is the mother of all sounds. And also why, and you know, I see people with their mouth this far open, but the real effect comes the more you open your mouth, because you are opening. Well, we talked about the problem being grasping.
Right.
So you want to open. When you open an ah, you're opening yourself, you're opening your heart. See, it's all opening.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, so yeah, get some opening. Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense, yeah. Thank you.
And resonate, feel the resonance. It's beautiful. It's just loving yourself.
It does feel that way. I say it's just, it is, well, it leads to a smile. Anyway, thanks.
Yeah, let's do something that's ridiculous at how good it works. Awesome, thank you. Aura, yay. Go ahead. You have the doggy too.
I do have a dog. Hey, before I get rolling, shout out Ann Friedrichsen. Yay, at C20. Woo. Hey, I wanted to say that I took David's emotional freedom course and it was revelatory for me because it seems like the key to the kingdom here is, the second I'm nervous.
It's okay.
Is not knowing what the cause of the emotional constriction, right? Because I don't know about you all, but I've spent 5 minutes or so trying to work my way through my emotional realm with my mind. Not that effective. And so it's almost as though not needing to know the cause of the trouble allows you access somatically. And, trying to solve your emotional states with your mind is like trying to do brain surgery with a rock. Like it is not, it's a really limited tool. And so it allows you, like David was saying, meta awareness, instant meta awareness, you're above it. And, then the intelligence of the universe works on your behalf. And so thank you, David, for your emotional freedom course. And I hope everybody has a great day.
Thank you so much, Aura. You win. You got it. That's it. You don't need to understand it. Trying to understand it is a waste of time. You've already tried to understand it and you know that it doesn't work. See, here's the thing, guys. Emotions are the subconscious's efforts to protect you. That's what they are. How is your conscious mind going to figure that out? It won't. Even often what we think is the cause. Oh, I had this insight. Oh my God, that's the cause. That sometimes it's not even right in the first place. I'm glad you had a big releasing insight. Doesn't matter. Insights are great. I'm not against it. And I am for therapy. I employ it myself. I think therapy is great. I'm not against it. However, understanding insights is great, but mentally trying to figure out your emotional problems has been tried and found to not work. Thank you, Aura.
You're welcome.
please.
Hey, and I guess I just wanted to say that I'm going to reference a book. I'll probably get the title wrong, but I think it's called "It Didn't Begin with You." And it's a man wrote a book about a study that he did where they could trace ancestral trauma in mice, but like forward 3 generations in time, where the 3rd generation had no concept or knowledge of the original trauma. And so, like it's an idea that you can't know the actual problem, but it's true. You can't know. You can't know. And so, to say to yourself, I forgive myself for not understanding. God, what a blessing and a relief. It's a
So
lot of
good.
work. It's a lot of work to try and, figure it all out, right?
It's a big frustration.
Anyway,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
So look, right before Joan shares, excuse me, I do want to say that I'm working with people individually now for Awakening. And if you'd like to do sessions with me, I put my email in the chat and you can contact me and, inquire about that. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. And Joan, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I took your class also. It was during a very difficult time in my life. So I've been listening to most of them on my own, and it has really made a difference for me. And I love this last one with the ah and the smile, because I've always been a big smiler, and people around me associate that with me. And when I'm not smiling, I give off this vibration, and it's very palatable to other people. And I have worked that so that I'm doing that on purpose, but that's not too healthy. But anyway, and I just brought up something that when my husband was a little boy, he would say to his father, "Don't look angry with me in your eyes." And when you smile, there can't be any anger. There's just radiant love. So this brought up that feeling for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So what's happening when you feel the tension or constriction, okay, and you do the ah and the smile at the same time? What's happening? You're rewriting your neurology right then. That's what's happening. You're changing it. Literally at that moment. You're rewriting it. You're forging a new pathway. It's actually a form of learning that's happening. All change is learning, actually. Kathy, yes.
Well, I'm another testimonial for your emotional freedom class, but I've really been loving this Smile the last couple of weeks. And somebody was saying, do you do this with your eyes open or closed? I've been doing it eyes open all the time, because I replace my frequent sighs, like that, with this ah instead, and then I smile. I mean, it has become habitual the last couple of weeks. I love it, and I can just honestly say it has made me feel so much happier, and I can really attribute it to this technique, honestly. And I am so happy and so grateful to you. And I hope everybody tries this, because it's great. Really, it is.
One technique to rule them all. Look, it just works. It's so easy. It's so easy. You really don't need to understand anything. You're just making a sound. Geez.
And you can take it with you wherever you go.
Yeah. Portable. You win. Self-love in action. William.
So I just wanted to say something from what Aura was saying about the emotions. I don't know, it was just kind of funny. I thought, happened like a week or two ago. I was kind of watching emotions and thoughts happen. And this is just another layer of mine, but it came up with, well, how the hell did I come up with that? From the emotion. It was like, there was no connection there. It was just some vague idea of throwing something at the wall and seeing if it stuck.
Thank you, William. Love that. Okay, awesome. Terry.
David, I just want to thank you so much. I took your emotional release class, and the techniques are just awesome. There was a few that didn't resonate, but on the whole, I feel much happier. Even though I'm going through some emotional things right now, this is helping me so much. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Wow. Terry, that's awesome. Thank you. Your flowing is gracing us right now. That's for sure. That's huge. It's lovely.
Thank you.
You're radiating. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. Anne has put in the chat, thank you, especially for the smile. Happily grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anne, for being here. Okay, so questions? There's another step I'm going to give in a minute, but anybody else have a question or something to share?
David,
Yeah.
When we first did the one on forgiveness, the emotion which started in the stomach or in solar plexus shot up directly to my throat. And as you know, the communication for myself always gets stuck there with releasing that. And then when we started with the ah and the smile, all I could see was just eons of dark gunk in my throat. And it was challenging. By the third, fourth time, it started on clearing to go down to my heart and then into the solar plexus. So there's still lots of work there on that throat area, which I know has always been a challenge for me. So thank you so much for that technique.
You can radically and rapidly clear it by doing this.
Right.
Just feel any of those areas, throat, heart, solar plexus, stomach, wherever it is, that area, and just intone to there and soar and be free. This is direct juice, guys. Smile is unfiltered evolution now. Seriously, this is it. So you don't even have to stop it. We did, I think, 5 rounds when we did it. I think we'll do it again in a minute. But some people have taken it further. Kay, would you like to share what happened when you went for a long period of time? Longer.
Well, when I took the class from David, the emotional freedom class, and when the next morning, I just did it for a while. I just kept doing it and kept doing it. And it became, I mean, it was so beautiful. It was just really, really beautiful. But it was like just this complete connection with the divine. And so I do it every day, a number of times. And I don't know, it's just been fantastic. That and the I forgive myself for not understanding. It's just been tremendous. I feel completely different in the past like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Just like when I used to think about, different things coming up or hurdles or burdens or whatever, and all these different things. And now it's like, where are they? They're not here. I don't know. It's like a miracle, really. So
You can't find your problems anymore.
Well, at least not
Not when I think of them. You know, they may still be there, but they're not bothered. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. All right. So now the final piece. The final piece is integrating the two techniques. So here we go. Let's do it. Okay. So, and then we'll close right after this. So go ahead and bring something up. You know the drill. Think of the emotion or think of a memory that bothers you or situation. Okay. Notice that there's content and emotion. Focus your awareness on the emotion. Feel where it is in your body and just rest your awareness right on the physical part, physical location. Okay. All right. So here we go. Feeling that, say, I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. Still feeling the area. Smile. Smile to the area. Feel the area smiling as well. If there's anything left, I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself completely. Smile. And that's it. So however you want to mix them, it's mixing them, combining. I love you, Patricia. Spruha, you made it. This is great.
I did, and I'm so glad. Just the energy of all the people that are sharing their personal experiences. I feel like I'm really able to relate with so many people with what they're saying. And some of the techniques that you're offering, it's a blessing. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
You're welcome so much. Be happy. Anyone else want to share anything? And yes.
I just wanted to mention that the other day, someone posted this thing on the Finders Course Facebook site about a gratitude practice. And it's really amazing. To sum it up, the best gratitude practice that this guy from Stanford that does all the studying and stuff found was to not to feel gratitude to somebody else, but to actually receive gratitude from someone personally, or watch someone else receiving gratitude. So I've been like sponging off this. It's great. I mean, they did neurological studies and actually that particular thing caused greater brain changes in the serotonin, all this other technical stuff. But you can, so I've been playing with that, and you just sit here and you feel someone else's gratitude either coming to you or going to somebody else. And you can also do this by creating, drawing up memories of such a thing. You probably could just make it up, but like I'm just going to use this thing where people are just so grateful to you because it's really intense gratitude. And it's just like, you just feel this, I can just feel it in my body that it's like, woo. So that's just a little side note. I thought it was pretty interesting. Yeah, see, a bonus.
Totally. I'm feeling it from you. We're sharing it with each other. Yeah, that's what this is about.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So cool stuff. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. So, yeah, does anyone else want to share anything before we close? Oh, actually, Annegret has been working with me, and I'm wondering if she would be willing to share a little bit about her experience and what has happened with working personally with me.
Yes, yes, I've started to work with David shortly after the 45 days course, when I was really lost and stuck and didn't know how to go on. And after 2 calls, he had helped me to clarify my goal, because I had no idea what I was looking for, how to get there, and he helped me to find my goal, and he has set me on my path. Yes, so many tools and knows so much. I asked him to push me a bit, and he always is kindly pushing me forward, and has new ideas, new tools, new teachings. It's great. I'm still, I wouldn't say I'm fully awakened, but I know that I'm constantly changing, and that's a big feeling. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. So there's been so much coming off of Terry and Anne Fredrickson and Annegret from Germany and others. And let's just bathe in this right now, and we'll just finish up. We're going to finish now with one final awe smile, and let's just beam the awe smile to ourselves and each other, and receive it. Like Anne said, the number one thing is receiving the gratitude. So here we go. All right. Smile to yourself. Smile to all, and feel the radiance of it happening. It's beautiful. It's wonderful to receive. Just allow it to be there. I love you. You are completely forgiven. The dog is helping out with Kathy. Get in touch if you need anything. I love you guys. I'll see you later.
Love you, David. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Love you, Kathy, Karen, everyone.
Great. Thanks, David.
How was that, Christina? Is that good for you?
I loved it. I look forward to doing this, seeing what happens. Kay looks younger.
Kay has changed so much. You're welcome, Sheila.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you. There you go. Many blessings.